As we can see on the monthly, not much change yesterday, right? The market really just kind of hung out up here, staying relatively close to this level. No surprise that 47.68 seemed to be a number or price level that the market was drawn to, right? It's where we had our equilibrium. And typically, when you get these equilibriums, it's basically just a price that is agreed upon by multiple time frame traders, and it makes it easier for them to continue to trade that price. And so they like to keep it relatively close to that price. So no surprise there. We get basically just a nice range day. Switching over to the weekly, see this big +4 week. So heading into Friday, it'll be interesting to see where this closes at, and then we can compare it to the next week. Should we get some action below it on a +4, typically that means that we may be in for some more, some trade against the trend. And right now the trend is definitely up. Remember that we're still looking for a cessation of one time framing on the daily chart for the first indication, but also on the weekly chart could be an indication on a little bit longer time frame. Switching over here to the daily, we get another +4 day for the 5th day in a row. Yesterday's +4 was kind of odd, right? Not that we don't see them, but you get a close lower than the open, but still everything trades higher than the previous day. You get some of these days sometimes, and you can see we got one here. Next day was a big down day. Got one here. The next day opened lower but traded up. So it's not really anything to really draw from it. Just use it as the +4, which means should we get below today's settle, that we want to be very careful with some of our longs. And we'll switch over to the profile now to kind of articulate this point a little bit better here. So you can see we had our settle yesterday at 74. For the most part, the market liquidated right off the bat. It got a little bit of a pop. We had talked about be careful of a liquidation because we had already seen a liquidation early, right? We got this B-shaped profile, pop back up. And we did get a liquidation back down into the previous range, and you had some shorts that were able to cover, and they covered into the close. So with that continuation here, or with the continuation from yesterday, it is looking like kind of, more of the same. We're just trading inside. So play number 2 is going to be kind of the setup today. With that larger range yesterday, you could be a little bit tighter with your value areas, or you could just be patient. We did trade below here already, so there is some opportunity there. And this is a nice setup, more or less, because we have the settle basically in the middle of value. So we're kind of looking for 2 plays here. One, we have, if we get this break of this value area low and we come back up and we can't reclaim the settle, then we'll be looking to get short, and looking to get short down to this 54. And the reason being, or 55, the reason being is just such a mechanical level yesterday that momentum traders kind of piled into. So it makes sense to kind of clean that level up. And then one key thing that you want to be paying attention to is if we do get that break and you get that opportunity, should we stay below this T1 high of 64, there's going to be even more opportunity below that 55 to trade down to that 44. So we're looking, pretty close to a 20-point move there, and you're just, you're going to be using that settle as your stop, as your position that you kind of know you're wrong. Now, with the +4, right, we kind of assume that a lot of this inventory up here, and that's where the volume point of control is at, is kind of stuck long, right? So they would need to reclaim this area and then find a bid and break this value area high to give us this opportunity from the upside. You kind of have the same position from the upside, except for what I'd like to see really is if you look and you kind of have the same distribution as overnight, you kind of have a lot of volume right here above this 86, or like from 88 to 84. And so should we get this break, I'd like to see that hold and then get that continuation, right? Then you're looking for that 48.08, the all-time high, something like that. Um, we do have some news today, flash PMI, flash services PMI, manufacturing PMI. So there may be a little bit of volatility here early. Those come out 9:45. And there's also some news, industrial production month over month at 9:15, capacity utilization at 9:15 as well. And then today at the market close, we get the long-term purchases from the tick. So it will be a little bit of interesting information coming into the weekend, right? You'll have to have your study hat on, be kind of forcing yourself to do a little bit of learning this weekend. But that is pretty much what we're going to be looking for today. If I'm being honest, I'm kind of leaning on the downside just because of kind of how weak yesterday was um, into that break. And that mechanical reference down at the 55 really just kind of throws me off. But you know, I take one good trade a day, and I'm really just looking for that break of value, right? Break the value area low. We'll be looking to go with. If we break the value area high, we'll be looking to go with that. And kind of depends also upon the tempo and the internals as well. But in reality, we're really just looking to trade with value. So if we break the value area low, the odds start to increase that we're going to be value lower. If we break the value area high, the odds start to increase that we're going to be developing value higher. And so it just makes sense to trade with value. For those of you guys that don't understand what I'm talking about, right? Comment down below the video or something, or give me a shout. We can get you into the Discord where we talk about things like this and just hang out and learn. That's what you're interested in. Other than that, you guys have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful weekend. Remember, it's Friday. You don't want to try to make up your whole week on a Friday. You don't want to blow your whole week on a Friday either. Oftentimes, sometimes you're better off just sitting out on a Friday. We're going to be opening up inside yesterday's range, so most likely early the market's going to be choppy, probably a little head faking going on. Other than that, make sure that you're managing risk and sticking to your trade plan, and I will see you guys on Monday.